your home care business is struggling to make more money, stop scrolling. This is for you. One of my clients couldn't figure it out either. Referrals were flowing, caregivers were onboarding, but her bank account told a very different story. She was burning through her cash, her energy, and her hope, waking up every single morning wondering who was even going to show up that day. Now, that's the real nightmare. She tried everything: job fairs, running ads, sign on bonuses, faster hiring, but nothing stopped the leak until we found the crack in her retention strategy that nobody talks about. Within 90 days, her turnover dropped, her culture shifted, and her profits started growing again. This is why your home care business isn't making more money, and the longer you wait to fix it, the more expensive it gets. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact shift we made and how you can do the same before the next caregiver walks away. So let me be very real. If your caregivers are leaving within the first 90 days, you don't have a hiring problem, you have an onboarding problem, and you're not alone. According to statistics, most caregivers leave during the first 90 days, and it's not because they don't like the job, but because they feel disconnected, unsupported, and like no one sees them. So they're not lazy, they're just unsure whether this agency is any different from the last one that burned them out. Imagine being new, you're nervous, and no one checks in, not once. Would you stay? The first 90 days aren't just about training, they're about trust. And if you're not building that trust with strong, consistent communication, they're gone before you even get a return on your investment. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking, but I pay my caregivers $23 an hour. That should be enough. Well, let me be very clear. Paying well is important, and there's no question about that. But I've seen agencies that pay top dollar with rates well above market, and they still lose caregivers faster than they can replace them. And do you want to know why? Well, this is because money alone doesn't build loyalty. Exit interviews consistently show that 67% of caregivers leave because they feel undervalued, not underpaid. That means they're walking out your door because of something deeper than the paycheck. Caregivers want more than just a job. They want purpose, and they want to feel like what they do actually matters, that they're making a difference every day, and that they're a part of a team that respects and sees them. And here's the kicker: the younger generation, especially, is looking for more than a paycheck. They want to know they belong somewhere, that their work is appreciated, and that their voice counts. And if your agency isn't giving them that, money won't keep them. It's about connection and communication. It's about creating a culture where caregivers feel seen and valued, where their daily work is acknowledged, where leadership listens and acts on their feedback. Because if caregivers don't feel that here, then they'll leave for 50 cents more somewhere else, and they won't even look back. So you don't need to pay more, you need to care and communicate better. In today's competitive market, pay is the floor and not the ceiling. Your real retention lever is how well you care and communicate. And that's exactly why I put together this free guide for home care owners, the same step-by-step system I use to create clarity and to drive revenue growth. Just drop the word increase in the comments and I'll give you your special link to grab it. Now let's raise the bar on care and communication together. All right, let's do a quick check before we move on, right? So what's your current 90-day caregiver retention strategy? If you don't know, there's no shame, but you do need to start tracking it right now. Ask yourself, what percentage of new hires are still on your team 90 days after they start? So let me put it plainly. Every caregiver you lose within 90 days costs you thousands. Between training, you got background checks, you have onboarding payroll, and the disruption to your scheduling. It adds up very fast because the fact of the matter is, if you don't measure it, you can't fix it. So most agency owners I talk to either don't track this number or they guess wrong, and the guess is costing them thousands. Knowing this number, that's your first step to stopping the leak within your agency. So one of my clients had the best caregivers on paper, right? Background checks were clean, experience was on point, but she couldn't keep them. Why? Because there was no company culture, just tasks, shifts, and silence. Culture isn't something you put on a poster or slap on your mission statement. It's how your team feels when they come to work. Do they feel seen, heard? Do they feel respected? Culture isn't a nice to have or just a feel good idea. It's a business strategy that directly impacts your bottom line. Now, I know a lot of small business owners think I'm too small for culture to matter, but let me remind you, Fortune 500 companies didn't start big. Many were small businesses once, just like you, and the reason that they grew into these corporate giants is because they built strong cultures from the ground up. Culture is created in those daily check ins that you're supposed to be doing, the small acknowledgments you do, the way you correct with care, and how you recognize effort without waiting for perfection. If your agency feels like just a job and not a home, you're going to keep bleeding talent. Here's the part most agency owners skip, and it's costing you thousands: feedback. At this level, you need a formal offboarding process. Exit interviews, feedback loops that actually feed back into your operations. You're not guessing anymore, you're running a real business. And real businesses have real systems for feedback. Ask questions like, why did they leave? What could have made them stay? And what's one thing you would change about your experience here? But don't stop there. Stay interviews are just as important. And I hope you heard me. Stay interviews. Maybe even more so, because that means regularly checking in with your best caregivers before they even think about leaving your company. Now ask them, what are we doing well that makes you want to stay? What's frustrating or holding you back? If this was your business, what would you change? Here's why stay interviews are a game changer. Exit interviews come after the damage is done, and stay interviews give you the chance to fix the problems before your caregivers decide to walk away. They help you catch small issues before they become big, costly losses. So, collecting feedback is just the start. You have to use that information fast. If it's positive, thank them and double down on what's working. And if it's negative, fix it right away and don't take it personally. Take it seriously. This is how you keep your best people and protect your business. If you really want to know how your culture is doing, don't just check your online reviews, start listening to your caregivers. What are they saying when no one from leadership is around? In the group chats, on their breaks, after a tough shift, that's your real feedback loop. Because here's the truth: when good caregivers start ghosting you, it's not just a staffing issue, that is a leadership gap. Culture isn't what's written in your handbook, it's what your team feels day to day. Do they feel heard when they bring up an issue? Do they get support when a shift goes sideways? Or does it feel like no one's paying attention? Those small signals tell caregivers whether they belong or whether they should start looking elsewhere. And the impact is huge. When culture breaks down, your schedule becomes chaos. Clients feel the turnover, your office team burns out, covering the gaps, and let's be honest, you feel it too. The stress, the constant pressure, and the late night calls when someone no shows. This isn't just about making people feel good. This is about protecting your business, because when your team feels disconnected, the ripple effect hits everything: reputation, reliability, retention, and even your revenue. It's all connected, and it all comes back to how your caregivers experience your leadership. Retention isn't just about throwing more money at the problem. It's about creating a place your caregivers never want to leave. So here's how to turn your insights into impact. Number one, you need to stop the leak. Track your 90-day retention rate. If you don't measure it, you can't fix it. Number two, you need to build real connection. Make daily check ins and stay interviews part of your routine. And number three, you need to lead with care. Small gestures of recognition and open feedback stop turnover in its tracks. You've seen the data, felt the pain, and watched the transformation happen for agency just like yours. Remember, you're not alone in this. I'm only a call away. Let's fix it together.